Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about my literary appreciation class. We are going to talk about the intrinsic elements in Sir Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart, the setting, the symbols, the points of view, the themes, and the moral values. So I'm going to tell you the definition first of each of these intrinsic elements, and then how to do the analysis on these elements, and lastly I will give you the examples in analyzing the elements in the Telltale Heart. Now let's begin. Alright, so the first intrinsic element is setting. What is setting? Setting describes the time and the place the story takes place. So you may ask questions like, where did the character do or say something? When is the conflict solved? Or when does a change of event happen? Okay, and what you have to do in the analysis, there are several things that you have to keep in mind. First, of course, you have to find the locations and the time in which some events happen in the story. But be careful, you have to be specific. Not only mentioning the house, but in which parts of the house. Something like that. Okay, there are two ways to identify the place and the time, either implicitly or explicitly. Implicitly means it is indirectly, it is not stated directly in the story, while explicitly means directly. So you just take out the place mentioned in the story. Also remember that the place and time may vary throughout the story, meaning that if there is a change of event, change of plot in the storyline, there might be a possibility that there will be a change in place and time. Okay, so it must be considered as well. So let's see the analysis in the Telltale Heart. We'll start first by the setting of place. Mostly the situation happens at the old man's house, but I've already specifically differentiated into three different parts in the house. The first one is in the old man's chamber. There are two evidences that I've put here. The first one taken from paragraph 3. It is not stated directly here about the chamber, but we can deduce based on several clues here. The bed, the room, there's the opening to the room, so we can conclude that it is the bedroom. While here in the paragraph 14, we can see that it is stated directly there, the chamber. So the first evidence is the implicit ways in identifying the setting of place, while the second example is in the explicit way. The second example is in the hallway or in the corridor. As we can see here, there's no any mentioning of the word hallway or corridor. So this is only based on my conclusions. The madman turned the latch of the old man's door and opened it. It means that the madman was actually standing outside the door, outside the old man's chamber. He is not inside, so it can be said that he is in the hallway or in the corridor. And the last one is, it happens in the living or in the guest room. This is the time where the madman welcomed 3 officers. So the officers get into the street door and they enter into the house, and they have a little talk there in paragraph 14. So they are not yet going to the bedroom or the chamber yet. Okay, so the setting of place are these 3 specific places. Okay, now let's go to the setting of time. Likewise, there are 3 different times that I've pointed out in the story, although all happens throughout the night. Okay, first one is at midnight. So it's just explicitly stated there in paragraph 3, line 25, every night just at 12. And then next one is in every morning. Again, it is also explicitly or directly stated there in paragraph 3, line 21. And every morning, blah blah blah. And the last one, it is another explicit way in identifying the setting of time. Okay, at dawn, at 4 o'clock. It doesn't say it's at dawn, but we can say it is. because it's 4 o'clock in the morning, okay, and it's still dark as midnight. So all of the setting of time mentioned in the story are conducted in explicit ways. Okay, now let's move on to the next intrinsic elements. Right, the next intrinsic element talks about symbols. What is symbol? Symbol is an object that suggests the not real meaning. Okay, so the meaning of this object must not be the original meaning, the real meaning, the denotative meaning. It must be figurative, non-literal, connotative meaning. Okay, you can ask questions like how many times this object is mentioned out of context in the story. Okay, and then what does the object or symbol signify? What is the importance of mentioning this object over and over? Okay, what is the importance of mentioning this object over and over? So that kind of questions that you can ask. So how to conduct the analysis on symbols? First, you have to find the object in which the meaning is not real. Okay, you can start from the title, because usually the author will use this object as the title to indicate that this object plays significant role in the story. Okay, and then try to relate the meaning with the situation or condition in the story. This symbol will be used over and over repeatedly in the story. It might suggest unusual meaning. Okay, and don't forget to put the evidence. Okay, so I will discuss two main symbols in the telltale heart. The first one is the eye. The literal meaning of the eye is part of our body, used as a visual device. We use it to see something, while here it might indicate different things. Why is the eye a symbol? Because it is used several times in the story. It is used repeatedly in the story, not only in paragraph 2 actually, but also in the other paragraphs, which I did not put it here. Okay, but we know that it's one of the main cause of the conflict. So here, talking about the eye, I will focus on the old man perspective, because the old man is the one who has this eye, who has this unusual eye, who has this vulture eye. Okay, so for the old man, the eye here refers to the caution, the insecurity of the old man. Okay, so the old man feels cautious, insecure. We can see based on the other characters' points of view. Yeah, in this case, the madman. The madman feels scared of the eye, because the eyes always look at the madman like suspecting something unexpectedly. Okay, and in paragraph 7 we can see also that the old man here has been lying awake ever since the first light knows. He is still opening his eyes open wide. Okay, because he feels cautious, insecure. He is afraid that his richness, his wealth is going to be taken away out of his hand because of his disability, because of his being old. Okay, and that's why he suspects anybody, including the madman. So the eye here symbolizes cautions or insecurity. The next symbol is the one which is actually can be seen in the title directly, the heart. Okay, it must mean something. It's not only part of our body which pumps the blood, but it can also symbolize the terror and the conscience. How? If the eye previously refers to the old man, here I want to refer this symbol to the madman. Okay, so how is it a terror? Because the madman thinks that he experienced a kind of unusual disease of acuteness of senses, so he can hear sounds. He can hear the beating sounds of the old man's heart. The madman feels terrorized by the sound of the old man's heart. So it symbolizes terror. And then what about the conscience? We can see in paragraph 17. After killing the old man, the madman still hear these beating sounds. At first he thought that it was the old man's heart, right? But actually after the old man's died, the heart should stop beating. But the madman still can hear it. It means that the beating is not coming from the old man's heart, but it comes from the madman's heart himself, okay, after killing. So it's actually the guilty feeling of the madman. That's why the heart here symbolizes the terror and the conscience of the madman. Okay, so next we are going to talk about the points of view.